Welcome back to Your New Favorite Song here on AIM Country Music Television, where we discover the stories behind the songs that are sure to steal your heart and play on repeat. I'm your host, Mark Gilliott, and my guest today is part of a legendary country music family, Cristina Cash. Her voice carries the soul of country, a little Latin flavor, and storytelling music that just runs deep in the family. Anna is a singer-songwriter who's carved out her own lane in the American and outlaw country music scene, blending emotion with fearless honesty. You may know her from powerful performances, deeply personal lyrics, and her unmistakable last name. But make no mistake, Cristina Cash is an artist with a voice and vision all her own. And today, she's here to talk about one of her latest tracks, a song that's equal parts sass, sunshine, and maybe a little salt on the rim. It's called Cheap Margaritas. So let's get her in here right now to talk about what might just be your new favorite song. Anna, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited.
You're very welcome. It's really nice to meet you.
Yes, likewise.
And what you have quite a history. Your husband, John Carter Cash, the son of Johnny and June. Love pulled you into the orbit of most couldn't even imagine. Please take the floor and give us your history. Tell us about life today and where it will take. Where you plan on taking it from here.
Absolutely. So I'll start from the beginning of my life, I guess. It could be very long, but I'm just going to do a little summary. So I'm from Miami, Florida, originally. I'm Cuban American. My parents moved from Cuba. They migrated in the 1960s. So I grew up in a bilingual household. Hence why my music, a lot of it is bilingual as well. I fell in love with country music at a very early age. There's a station in Miami called Kiss Country, 999 Kiss Country, and that's where I got a lot of my country music. And aside from having like the influences of Latin artists like Gloria Estefan and Shakira, I also had the influences of Leanne Rimes, Faith Hill, Shania Twain, Martina McBride, and all these wonderful country artists. So I'm really, truly a fusion of that. So I've basically grew up and lived in Miami till about 2010 when I moved to Los Angeles for 4 years. But before that, I'll go back again. I was signed to the Latin division of Sony. I released records in the Spanish language. And I was on a variety show that was known nationwide called Sábado Gigante. Actually, internationally, it was a Spanish variety show because those were the opportunities that I got growing up in Miami. So I started my career in the Latin music industry. I'm making sure this is off, sorry. And it is. So fast forward, after my time in Los Angeles, did some work out there, recorded a great pop soul project out there. And I meet my husband in Los Angeles, John Carter Cash, who is son of John and June. I did not know that at the time. We were just talking and, things moved on, like we became friends and then we started dating. And then I moved to Nashville in 2014. So then I was really heavily immersed in country music. So a lot of my stuff is recorded out of the Cash Cabin studio. And right from the get-go, since I moved in 2014, I've been working with bluegrass and country musicians primarily. So a lot of that self-discovery, a lot of the writing I've done either on my own or like the collaborations have been a result kind of the collaborative nature of what Nashville is. It's extremely friendly and collaborative. And I feel like it's such a great creative town, honestly. And I released my Shine record in 2020. I released a Christmas album that I recorded in Nashville. And now I'm releasing all these singles. I have Cheap Margaritas that I released, as well as the Spanglish version. I have Last Call, in which the Spanish version is Tu Última Llamada, and I'm releasing Daybreak on August the 1st. So excited. Hopefully that was a good summary. I tried to like compress it as much as I could. I don't know how one can compress their like life. Such a small
Well,
few minutes.
I said that was
Yeah.
quite a history, and I think it's pretty hard to digest all that into a really brief intro.
I'm a lot to digest. Yes.
Well, I assume that the family name comes with some challenges, along with the upsides. There's some access you might not otherwise have, but I would think sharing a name with legends, would set the bar very high, and in every situation you find yourself in. What does that look like from inside? What's that look like up close?
Well, definitely on there. There's always pros and cons to everything, and I would never want to complain about anything. I'm only grateful, of course. I really admire my late father-in-law and mother-in-law for their art and for their talent, and getting to know the lives and kind of just like it's sort of like a blueprint of kind of the work that they did not only creatively, but just the work ethic, just like seeing that perspective from the inside has been incredible to me as I continue to move along my own journey. So that's definitely the positive side of that. One of the negatives definitely can be when there are larger than life figures that your own work can get overshadowed, and nobody knows that better than my own husband, who has had critique over, oh, like, oh, you don't sound like your dad and this and that. But of course he doesn't. He's his own person, So we're while we're very proud, of course, and I'm very proud of John's parents and everything, and they're amazing role models, examples. At the same time, we are all individuals. I'm an individual and I create art in a different way. John Carter, my husband, as well, is very much of an individual. So it's very important to maintain an identity, I think, in everything we do.
Oh yeah. I think from your perspectives, from you and John, I think you have to see up close that, they are legends and you can't replace them. Nobody can
Correct,
replace them.
correct.
So
And
it is, shining a light on you that's like an impossible standard at some point.
right, but at the same time, like you never want to downplay what these wonderful people have achieved because they're loved by so many people, and we're so grateful to have, well, at least I never met them, but at least so grateful to have that example through the stories, through the footage, through all the projects that we're involved in, and to also pay tribute to them in shows. I've gotten to do a lot of shows tributing to their music, and there's always a learning experience in that. So I would never be ungrateful for being exposed to that at all.
Yeah, so many of us love them to this day.
Yes. Yes.
I've watched a lot of your YouTube videos, lots of Spanish influence, and I've listened to part one of your the Sunshine State EP. Part
Yeah.
one is going to have like 9 songs, 3 of which are Spanish versions of Cheap Margaritas, Daybreak, and Last Call. Uh, I'm assuming this is sort of a callback to your Cuban American roots. I really enjoy the Spanish versions. What is Spanglish?
English, yeah, I'd be happy to explain. So, a lot of us grew up speaking Spanglish in Miami. It's when we'd finish sentences, like we'd start off in English and throw in a Spanish word, or talking all in Spanish and throw in an English word because we don't know what it is, right? So, essentially, with Cheap Margaritas, that's actually the only song on the record that I did not have a hand in writing. So that song, Cheap Margaritas, was written by Erica Ender, Jess Kane, Willie Breeding, and Frank Ray. Frank Ray is a performer that sings in English and Spanish. I don't know if you've heard of Frank, but he does great work. So essentially, I thought it just worked out so well with the rest of that EP. And Erica Ender, who also writes English and Spanish, she did the Spanish translation, Spanglish. And the reason why it was a Spanglish versus a Spanish is that we could not find a word for a phrase for cheap margaritas because it translates to margaritas baratas, right? So that has so many syllables, it is nearly impossible to kind of do anything with that. So that's how you end up with the Spanglish version of something because like you cannot change the title or simply because the story lends itself to being Spanglish. So I hope that was a good explanation for
Oh yeah,
Spanglish.
it is. Yeah, yeah. For me, it was Spanish, so I wasn't sure exactly what that meant because I don't really understand it. I took it in school, but never spoke it. So as soon as you speed it up, I don't understand what anybody's saying anyway. So
I have a really fun fact for you. So this just came out a few weeks ago. So Spanglish is now officially recognized by linguists in America and in the world, and they particularly target Miami, where I grew up, as a breeding ground for Spanglish. So they now count it as a language as completely. As of the last few weeks, if you look up Spanglish and linguists and everything, it's all there on Google, which is
that's
crazy.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I love Miami. Do you spend much time there now?
I'm here right now.
Okay,
So I'm
so yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm in Miami right now, and so funny. I just want to throw this out there. I just posted on my socials. I don't know if you've heard the Morgan Wallen song that's out right now called Miami, and he talks about a Cuban girl from Havana, and I thought it'd be really funny if I dropped a verse. So I went into my studio, kind of scrubbed his vocal, did my own verse in Spanglish. If you want to listen to it on my socials, it's there. I just posted it yesterday, and kind of just talking about my hometown and responding to that Morgan Wallen track.
That's
But I
awesome.
spent a lot of time here. My dad and mom are here, my sisters, my nephews, my nieces pop in every now and then. I have one niece that's still here, but this is home. But Nashville's home. I've been in Nashville for 11 years.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
It's really a true mix. And people often ask me about like my whole thing of like how I created this fusion of genres. And like I don't know anything else. This is what is natural to me. This is not forced. This was not my bright idea at all. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. So
So,
yeah.
what are your biggest influences? Because growing up Miami, Cuban American, but
Yeah.
I've listened to a bunch of your stuff, and there's you have a lot of sort of bright, happy, what I would call, would not surprise me to come from Cuba. But then
Yeah.
just about everything you do kind of leans country. How did that fusion happen? I mean, where did that happen in your life?
To be very honest with you, vocally, always, even before I lived in Nashville, before anything, before I started working so heavily in the country music industry, I always felt really close to being a country vocalist. I feel like I'm more of a country vocalist than anything, and I always was, which was strange, even like living in Miami. So then just living in Nashville, it became a reality. And that came from listening to Patsy Cline when I was a kid, to Loretta Lynn, to again those Faith Hill, Shania Twain, Martina McBride, Leanne Rimes records, like a lot of the 90s country stuff. So vocally, and then Carrie, I listened to a lot of Carrie in the 2000s. So there's some of that influence, so kind of like all these powerhouse like female vocalists that I just loved, and the stories that were so beautiful. It's like three chords and the truth, just such truthful lyrics and beautiful melodies and country music that I fell in love completely. But then every Latin party that I ever grew up going to, everything was a celebration. If somebody passed away, we did a celebration, right? We there's a wedding, there's a celebration, there's a birthday, there's a celebration, and it's in a big way. It's not in a small way. It's like you bring the trays of food, there's loud music, people are dancing. So that sort of joyful spirit from the Latin world is kind of still with me, that not that all other parties aren't joyful, but it was done loud and it was done big and with a lot of percussion. And so listening to artists like Gloria Estefan, who also, I mean, basically she broke the glass ceiling initially doing the translations herself. And I'm actually close friends with Emilio Estefan, producer, and her husband. I saw him this week actually, and he told me that people said that they were crazy when they played conga, the song conga for radio stations. They're like, you need to make this less Latin. He's like, no, I'm not changing anything, and then just the world embraced it, not only the country, but the world. So that fusion, I mean, that whole thing that they did was very brave, and that was done many years ago. And then with Shakira, they followed suit with the English translations and the Spanish translations, with Ricky Martin, with Jennifer Lopez. So there was a huge boom of this Latin crossover in the pop in the late 90s and early 2000s. That was huge. And of course, Gloria beginning all that in the 80s. And there's Selena Quintanilla, of course, from Texas, that had, she was a Texas girl. She was American, but had Mexican roots. And then she was doing the Tejano music, but was on her way to doing an English record. So it's just so commonplace to me, really. And but again, it's that joyous rhythm, it's the fusion, but then it's like the truth of the country songs, the vocals of the country. You know what I mean? So like I'm very country. Aesthetically, as far as songwriting, I'm very country, but then rhythmically, I would say, and in the way I have the passion in my voice is very Latin.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Thank you.
You know, speaking of the celebration part, there was a clip circulating of you doing "Hurt" at Opry 100,
Yeah.
sort of in honor of Johnny Cash, and you just
Yeah.
did a really good job on that song. What was that experience like? That had to be a little bit, emotional overall.
Hurt is an incredibly emotional song. Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor wrote the song, I think when he was like 19. It was completely different. It was more like low voice, rock, emo. And then when John's dad did it, he was an older man. The video is it puts tears in my eyes every time I see that video, because it's an older man going across his whole life. His spouse had just died. So putting myself in the place of that and singing that live and honoring both John and June that night was very emotional. About 2 weeks before, I had lost a close friend as well. My friend Eduardo Salinas, he was actually the head of the ER here at Mercy Hospital in Miami. He was only 40 years old, left behind a beautiful wife and three children. So I actually thought about my friend that passed away that night, and kind of second verse, I do get a little choked up thinking about that, because that song can take on many meanings. It can take on many meanings for many people. So not only were John and June on my mind, but my friend that had just passed away that night.
I really felt like Johnny made that his song. It seemed like it was just written for him the way that came out, and like I say, I think you did a really good job, honoring that.
Thank you. And then my husband, John Carter Cash, also played rhythm guitar. And then we invited our friend Chris Perez on stage to play guitar as well. And he was actually the husband of Selena Quintanilla. So it's an example of how my two worlds collide. I'd been working with Chris and his friend Bob, in the studio, and then we just invited him to come. So that, again, another example of how my worlds collide sometimes.
Right, exactly. Well, that's on Anna's YouTube page, so you should go to YouTube and check that out because it's a good rendition.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Also, you sang the Star Spangled Banner at the second inauguration of George Bush. That's rare in anyone's book, but as I understand it, you were the first Hispanic person to do that.
To sing the Star Spangled Banner, I believe is like specifically the song, the Star Spangled Banner. I was the first Hispanic person. So it was crazy. In 2006, I was invited by Emilio Estefan for Hispanic Heritage Week. But then in 2005, before that, my demo tape of me singing the Star Spangled Banner had gotten to the Florida governor's office. And they're like, can you sing the song at the Continental Ball in Washington? So I was flown out. I got to sing there. And that's kind of what led to the 2006 White House invitation from actually Emilio Estefan, who was on the Committee of Arts and Humanities at the time, that invited me. And I was able to sing two boleros, Bésame Mucho, and Contigo en la Distancia, and then one English song, At Last by Etta James. And the then Prince, now King of Spain, Felipe, was present, as well as many ambassadors and dignitaries. And I felt like it was an outer body experience. Like I
bet.
Still, it's like it's that and my Opry debut probably were two of the most important times for me on stage ever. And like I take every moment seriously, no matter if the crowd is like huge, small, but like those two performances stand out among some of the most memorable.
Yeah, those are some you'll take with you forever.
Oh yeah, yes.
What year was your Grand Ole Opry debut?
2019.
Very nice. I like
2019. So it's we're coming up pretty soon, almost a decade. We're like what, 2005? No, there's still a ways to go, but so I just learned that it looks like we're coming on again July 19th. So coming up, I think I'm going to be able to debut Daybreak actually with Charlie McCoy.
Oh, really?
Charlie McCoy was very prevalent on that recording on their harmonica. And it just so happens that Charlie's performing that night, and it looks like I'll be able to debut Daybreak on July 19th on the Opry, and then sing a couple duets with John Carter as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's something we need to see, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I'm super psyched. Yeah, I've performed Daybreak live a few times, but it's been mostly acoustic shows. But I imagine with the Opry band, and of course with Charlie McCoy, the legend himself that played on the recording, to share that with him live, I will treasure. Absolutely.
It's going to be great.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited.
Well, you're here today to talk about or let us see your Cheap Margaritas video. Take a minute before we play it to bring us up to speed. What's it about? What inspired it? Just tell us what touches you on this song.
So Cheap Margaritas is really, it's a very real exchange. It's very relatable to a lot of people. So it's about these two people that have an attraction to each other and they're flirting, and it's basically a masterclass in flirtation. And I hope everyone enjoys it.
I'm sure they will. You're watching Anna Cristina Cash's video for Cheap Margaritas here on AIM Country Music Television.
We know that to the both of us, this 2 for 1's a little more than catching up. We know exactly what it is. It's a salty sort of truth that's always on our lips. It's our little happy hour tradition, with one hell of a hangover. It's the best kind of bad decision. we're sober. You know we're like the cheap margaritas we're drinking. We're only gonna wake up saying, what was I thinking? We're drunk on the delicious, bittersweet kind of feeling. The type of thing you say for a night on the weekend. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas. That glass is like a neon green light. One taste and it goes straight to my head. You're the reason why the moment feels right, and I'm the reason why you end up in bed. You know we're like the cheap margaritas we're drinking. We're only gonna wake up saying, what was I thinking? We're drunk on the delicious, bittersweet kind of feeling. The type of thing you say for a night on the weekend. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas. We can't help but want what we want when we want it. We can't help but want what we want, and I want it. You know we're like the cheap margaritas we're drinking. We're only gonna wake up saying, what was I thinking? We're drunk on the delicious, bittersweet kind of feeling. The type of thing you say for a night on the weekend. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas. Cheap margaritas.
Well, hi there. There you go.
Holy smokes, that's a cheap margarita.
Tell you what, after this first one, they're all going to be delicious.
Wow, I like it. Definitely a party song. Definitely one your audience will join in on. Well done.
Thank you. It's funny is on my social media right now, a lot of people have really taken to the song, and they'll have margarita parties with their gals or with their friends, and then they'll send me videos, they'll post it, I'll repost them. And it's just become like this online thing that, the song has been an excuse for everyone to throw a margarita party, and they tag the song, and I love it. So it's really lighthearted and fun. And I think that's what music can be. You can either do something that's very emotional that people take to, or something that's very lighthearted and fun that makes people forget about their troubles. And I think that's what I love about this song.
Oh yeah, same here. You have another one you mentioned, Daybreak. It's coming out, I think, you said August 1st.
Yes, so Daybreak is coming out August 1st. So I wrote Daybreak with Willie Breeding and Gabriela Scotto. And again, it's very much in line with Cheap Margaritas, which is why we felt like those two would work together within the body of work of EP1, because clearly, there's an EP1, there's going to be an EP2, volume 2, and there will be a record. So I've got a lot of songs I've recorded over the last 3 years. We felt that Daybreak would be another great summer song to release. And that is just very chill vibes as well about, people that are overworked, tired, and wanting to go to a beach somewhere, very Kenny Chesney, Little Big Town-esque, if I had to compare it to something that people could hear on the radio. And there's also a Spanish version of that I translated with my friend Jody Marr. So that's super exciting too. I can't wait for people to hear it.
Yeah, and I really like the way it complements Cheap Margaritas. This is kind of a contrast. It's like where Cheap Margaritas is kind of bouncy and all fun. This one starts for sure in like a more bluesy line. It's maybe a little reminiscent of Bonnie Raitt. There's no rasp, but
I would attribute it's country blues really, and it's It's a song you'd hear on the beach and in the car, and the bluesy aspect I would attribute to Charlie McCoy's harmonica performance, and Paul Franklin did amazing steel guitars on there, and all the musicians involved are incredible. I could list all the credits, it's amazing.
I miss those days where you get a CD and you'd look at it and study who played and what their roles were.
I love it. Honestly, like I always, when I release a single or I release a body of work, I always post the credits on my socials so people can recognize every musician that played on it. Because everybody puts their own staple on everything. They all have their own personalities. Every writer has their own distinct voice. And everyone, I can't tell you how happy I am to be creative again, to be doing this. There was a few years ago, I was just, I had my second child, my son, and I was kind of like recording, I was writing, but it wasn't full force, like in creativity mode and promotion mode, like I am now. So to be getting back to that is just really fulfilling to me.
Well, we don't have a video of it yet, but I'd love it if we play a little teaser to give the audience a taste of what's coming. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, here we go. This is Anna Cristina Cash's song Daybreak on AIM Country Music Television.
Sometimes I fantasize about just you and I getting up and leaving it all. Let's take it slow like a southern drawl. I think we need a daybreak, a little time to waste beneath the palm trees buzzing, but we're wide awake, barely wearing clothes on a slice of paradise. Got a little left to make. We need a daybreak, yeah.
I like this one too. Let us know what you guys think of this one. And thanks, Anna, for letting us play it.
Absolutely. Funny story about the cover art actually for this. Like, so we have a pond on our property in Hendersonville. And so we just grabbed a canoe, and Gina Binkley was taking the photos, and like they had to like kind of like pull this rope back and forth so the canoe would move. It was crazy. It's like the whole thing was in a canoe. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw some of the cover art for that. That's pretty neat. Well, I really enjoyed our visit. So before we bring this to a close, just take a moment and tell us where to find you online, on stage, and where we can buy or listen to all your music.
Sure. So I'm Anna Cristina Cash, and you can find me on Anna Cristina Cash Instagram, as well as X, as well as Facebook. And on TikTok, I'm Anna Cristina Cash Music. I also have a website, annachristinacash.com.
Very well. We will all be looking you up.
Thank you.
You're
Awesome.
welcome. And I want to thank you for joining us today. It's been a delight getting to know a little bit about you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sincerely, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna Cristina Cash. So, what do you guys think? Is Cheap Margaritas going to be your new favorite song? This has been Mark Gillia for AIM Country Music Television. Thank you for watching.
We're only gonna wake up saying what was